Okay, so now I'm going to go over how to turn our layout first into a horizontal navigation and then into a vertical navigation. So we went over how to create the horizontal navigation in class last Monday, but I'm just going to quickly repeat that here. And then once we have our horizontal navigation, we're going to do the vertical navigation, and that's going to involve some positioning. And that's what I really want you guys to take away this week. So let me just tell you how sort of navigation is used in HTML, how it's styled in HTML and CSS. Notice here we have our navigation elements, but we do not have, like, there's no spacing, they're not active links. So we're going to change all that. And we're going to start in the HTML code. And the convention for creating navigation in HTML is to use, in HTML5, is to use some older HTML tags. One called the UL, which stands for unordered lists. And that basically creates a list of bullet items in traditional HTML. And then for each navigation item, we're going to use the LI tag. So let me show you how that works. And it will become a little clearer once I put the coding in, and then we can see what it looks like in the design view. So I'm just going to add, I have opened the UL tag, which means the unordered list, and then for every navigation element I'm going to encase it within the LI tag. So home, W3 school, Zen garden, design code wrap. And when I'm done with my navigation list, I have to close my unordered list. So I like to, when I do a navigation, I like to lay things out like this so that I can very clearly see all of my individual navigation elements. Okay, and if you go to just about any website and you look at how the navigation bar is coded in HTML, you will see a format like this. So let's see what it looks like in the design view. Oh, there we go. There's our bulleted list. Okay. Now, we're not creating a vertical navigation bar here. We're actually going to create a horizontal one. So there's two things that we're going to need to change about the way that this is styled. First of all, we're going to have to get rid of the bullets, and then we're going to have to make this horizontal. Right now, they're all stacked one after the other. So the way that we take care of that is actually in the CSS. So I'm going to get newzen.css open. Actually, let me do this. Okay, and I'm going to create two new tags in here reflecting what I just added to my HTML document. The unordered list tag, the style for the unordered list tag, and the style for the list item tag. Okay, now remember, two of the first things that we want to do is we want to get rid of the bullets, and we want to make this horizontal rather than stacked. So to make those changes, we go into the LI tag, and the first sort of property we're going to change is something called list style. Oh, there we go. Just love that code hint from Dreamweaver. List style, and here we say none. That means no more bullets. Another thing that we want to change is we want to change it from the way that it is coded now, which is to stack one on top of the other vertically. We want to change that to a horizontal display. So the properties that we're going to change there, it's called display, and we're going to change it to inline. And inline basically says put everything in one line. Okay, and if we just make those two changes, okay, very good. Notice we no longer have the bullets, and we're no longer stacked one on top of the other. We have no more bullets, and we have we're horizontal. But notice also that we've added some extra space at the top of the bottom, and we don't really like that. So we want to get rid of some of this, and let me show you how we might do that. So the reason why this is here is because in our HTML, okay, I hate the way it does this. Okay, in our HTML, we have a UL and we have LIs. The UL has a P built into it. In old-fashioned HTML, remember that these tags, they were formatting tags. They have now become content tags. They're used in specific instances of content. But in the past, UL said skip a space, and LI said put a bullet. And so when you use them in navigation, you have to get rid of those sort of built-in styles. So this is how you do that. We're going to go to the UL tag in our CSS. And we're going to set the margin to 0. The margin, remember, if we remember the box model of CSS, remember there's the content in the middle, and then the padding around the content, and then the border, and then the margin outside of the border. The margin is what separates one element from another. So by setting the margin to 0, we should pretty much get rid of most of the spacing. Let's look at it. Okay, yes, much better. So we've set the margin to 0. We've gotten rid of the P that was built into the UL code. Okay. The next thing that we might want to do is we want to create some space between our navigation elements. So I'm going to do that by adding padding to the right-hand side of each of my navigation elements. So I'm going to go into CSS. I'm going to go to the LI tag style. And I'm just going to say padding right, let's say 50 pixels. Let's see what happens. Okay, much better. Now it's really starting to look like a horizontal navigation. Now another thing that I might want to do is I might want to get rid of this extra padding here. And I believe that if it's either a UL or an LI. Let me try padding left, 0 pixels. Okay, and let me also try here, padding left. Actually, let me just try that, the top one first. Okay, very good. So now our navigation lines up with the rest of our page, which is exactly what we want. So now we're going to apply links to our navigation elements. So I'm just going to type in some links. Let me show you how I'm going to add the links. I'm going to add them to the HTML document. Let me go up to the navigation. There it is. Okay. And I know what I know how to specify a link in HTML, so I'm just going to show you. Let's say for the home button, we want to link it to our blog. So I'm going to say ahref equals quote http : oops, I misspelled HTTP, look at that. Sites temple edu. Okay, so I use something called the A tag. The A tag is what creates the link. The specific property of the A tag that includes the link is called href. That's a hypertextual reference. In other words, where on the web does this thing live? And then you put equal, and then you put the name of the site, the URL, in quotes. You close the A tag. You type whatever words you want to appear for the link, and then you close the A tag. Okay, so I could type that out for the rest of these, but I'm going to use some shortcuts. I'm going to put my cursor in front of W3 School. Let me go get the W3 School URL first. Okay, there it is. So it's w3schools.com. I'm just going to copy that and then go back to Dreamweaver. And instead of typing out ahref, which is something I could do, and if you're using Sublime Text, it's something that you're going to need to do, but in Dreamweaver I can say insert hyperlink, and it will say, okay, what is your link? Okay. All right, actually I did that wrong. Let me do that again. Right. Okay, let me do that again. I'm sorry, I messed that up. So here's the way I should do that probably. I'm going to say insert hyperlink. So the text is going to be it's going to be W3 School. The link, target references, if you don't want the link to open up in the current browser window but in a new one, you can specify it. Title is the name of the link. We'll call it W3 School and click OK. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to get rid of this here. Okay. So by using the insert hyperlink, I can, it will automatically set it up for me. All right, that was too complicated, so I'm going to go back to the other way. Let me go find the Zen Garden URL. Here it is. Okay, and so I'm going to type in ahref equals quote. I'm going to paste in my URL, close caret, go to the end of Zen Garden, and close the A tag. Design code wrap. Here we go, design coding. I'm going to copy that.
Design and coding. Design of your site, coding of your site.
Okay, enough of that. You can check it out if you haven't seen it. So, okay, so I've set up all of my navigation with links to the content that I want them to link to. So let me see what that looks like in design. Oh my. Well, it's there, but it's this really ugly blue underline, really icky. So I want to change the style on that. And to change the style for navigation, what you have to do is you have to use something called pseudo-classes. And the best way that I can explain them to you is just to show you. They're one of those things that you just have to memorize. So remember that the tag for the links is the A tag. So we're going to start with the A. So there's actually four, but we're only going to use three. There are three pseudo classes. One is called a link, and this is going to be the style that shows up on a linked item when the page first loads. The other one is called a visited, and that is the style that appears when a link has already been visited. And then there's a hover. And a hover is what a link looks like when the mouse is over it. Okay, so let me type in some values here. So the first thing I'm going to put in on all three of these, or maybe just on a, well, yeah, okay. First thing I'm going to put on an A link is I really don't like the underline, the default underline, and it's kind of like not the thing to put this on your links anymore. So the way I get rid of that is I say text decoration, and I can set that to none. That's going to get rid of our underline. Now notice that Dreamweaver knew, the HTML knew that the A link was referencing, that this style was referencing our links. And that's because this said basically look for anything with an A tag that is of the characteristic of a link. And so because we used the A tag to define our links, it knew that that's what we were supposed to apply it to. Okay. Also on visited text links, you want no underline. Okay, but the thing to do is when the mouse rolls over, sometimes you do want the underline there. So we'll say text decoration underline. Let me show you what that looks like. I might have to look at it in the browser. So we turn off the underline when the link first loads, but when the mouse rolls over it, we want the underline to appear. Okay, see if I put this in live view, I might be able to see it. Yes, okay, there we go. See, that's kind of cool. Now we still have the problem of the really ugly colors. So let's go in and change the color of our links. So let's think, what color might we want to change it to? I like to use something that's already existing on the page. So maybe I'll use the background of the header here. That yellow is really nice. So let me go to the header. Okay, background color FFF7BD. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm not going to use it as the background color. I'm actually going to use it as the text color here. So I'm just going to paste that in. Okay. Now you can have a different color for the visited link. So maybe instead of that yellow, oh, see, we can already see it. Isn't that beautiful? Let's try our background green. It might not be perfect, but we'll be able to see it at any rate. So for the visited link, we'll use this. That's the green. Okay. So we might not be able to see that on this display. We might have to go to the browser. So if I go to Zen Garden and I come back, yeah, so now we're in green. Okay, and I kind of just like the hover with the underline, so I might just keep it like that. Okay. Okay, so here I'm not going to change the color. Because I didn't change the color, it's either going to be the green if it's visited, or it's going to be yellow. All right, so that's the basic way of creating a horizontal navigation. In the next video, we're going to, oh, sorry, there are two other things I wanted to do. Sorry about that, I forgot about it. We're going to put a background image into our article div. So let me show you how this works. And you can put background images into any div. You could put it in the body link. You could put it in the header. You can put it into any element on your CSS. I'm going to put it in the article section, which is this area here, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I have in my folder, I have something called circle.gif. It's a big circle. I'm going to use this as a watermark in my design. So to add the background image, I'm going to go to CSS, and I'm going to put it in the article section. So I'm going to say background image. Okay, background image. And then notice here it says browse. It says basically where on your computer is this image that you speak of. So here I'm going to select circle.gif. That's the format it puts it in. Now if I just keep it like that, watch what happens. Woo! Okay, that's too much. What I want to do is I really only want one circle, and I kind of want it to be on the bottom. So how do I do that? Let me go back. There are a few properties of the background image, a few values of the background image properties. One of them is background repeat. And we can set it to no repeat, which will only make it repeat once. It'll only display once. But notice we also have repeat X and repeat Y. If you say repeat X, an element will just repeat horizontally. And if you say repeat Y, it will only repeat vertically. So I'm going to say no repeat. See what it looks like now. Okay, we have one circle. It's not in the best location, but at least it's in there. And so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to position the background, and there's some easy properties that you can use for that. It's called background position. And these are the general properties. Like I could just say bottom, but sorry, let me show you what they are. I could just say bottom, but I'm going to say bottom right. I could say bottom left. I could say top right. I could say top center. So I can combine these a little bit, but I'm going to use bottom right. So I'm just going to type bottom and right. There we go. Very exciting. Let's look at this in a browser. Woo! Okay, all right, very good. Okay, I'm going to save the next image placement exercise for the next video because we're going to talk about positioning next. But this basically, in this video, we went over how to create the horizontal navigation, how to use the UL codes, the UL tags, and the LI tags to create the navigation, how to add the links using href, and then how to style the links using pseudocode, the A link, the A visited, the A hover, and also how to put in the background image.